G'day everybody, welcome back to the channel. Okay, so today what I'm going to do is talk you through how I'm going to set the Wilson Watchdog Series 2 passive subwoofer up to its accompanying power source, which is its amplifier, and then how I hook up the Wilson Audio watch controller to my system. So I'm just going to go through the basics of the setup here, and the fine-tuning and installation of getting everything locked in properly will happen in a later video. I'm not even there yet. I'm nowhere near there yet. I'm just essentially going to shoot this video and show you how I'm going to set it up. Then I'm going to put the components in the rack and then essentially re-hook it up exactly as I'm showing you now. And then I'll start the whole fine-tuning of the subwoofer into the system. So I'll turn the camera around now and show you guys exactly what I've done, just to sort of roughly set it up here so you guys can see it. So let's spin the camera around here and we will lower things down a bit. So hopefully I'll bring it in a bit closer so you guys can see what's going on. So, put my spectacles on so I can see what's going on. So essentially, as I said, I've just wheeled the sub out and sat it in the middle of the room. I'm using an Audio Research DS450 monoblock amplifier, so it's 450 watts of D-class power from Audio Research. So that amplifier is what's going to power the sub, and then this is the back look at the Wilson Audio watch controller. So essentially there's a few different ways to do this, and really the best way to configure this is, well, other than using Y connectors, which you may need to do if you only have one output in your preamplifier. Now I'm lucky because my SL101 preamplifier has single-ended and balanced output, so it has dual outputs. So that's really important here, especially the way that we're going to do this. So you can use Y connectors if you need to do that, but you do need a set of outputs to drive your amplifier or amplifiers for your main speakers, and then you need another set of line outputs to go to the watch controller. So anyway, so that's what we're doing here with these transparent cables. They're XLR cables because at the moment I'm using single-ended cables between the preamplifier and the monoblocks at the moment. So I plan on changing that over at some point and running XLR cables between the amplifier, and then I'll just change this over to single-ended. And that's the beautiful thing about this equipment here from Wilson Audio. You can use both single-ended or balanced, and just select in the front of the unit, which we'll show you later, the changes you need to make. So at the moment I'm using and just listening to some really lovely single-ended cables that are going from the SL101 to the SM101s, the pre to power amplifiers. So I'll use balanced cables in this instance because I've got a spare set of balanced outputs in the preamplifier. So that's where these will go, both left and right. And this is, as you can see, there they are, left and right, into the, which will come into the watch controller coming out of the SL101 preamplifier. So I'm only using the low pass setup in this system. I'm not using the high pass because I'm just going to run my speakers at full range, which is fine to do. And then I'll cross the subwoofer over where I think it's appropriate through the watch controller in the front. So again, I'm using a single-ended cable here from Robinson. This is their Elite cable, which is what I have in my system, my loom, which is all OCC silver in Teflon tubes. So beautiful cables. I've got them both in balanced and unbalanced, but in this instance, I'm going to use a single-ended cable. So here we've got the low pass, and we've got a 1 and a 2. So if you are only using one subwoofer like we are in this installation, what the watch controller does is it assumes with the two stereo signals coming into it, it combines those signals to one left and right for the low pass, and you literally have, even though you might think you've got a left and a right subwoofer here, and you do, you can run obviously two subwoofers here, but they work in a configured arrangement. So you have the stereo signal combined into one signal and comes out of both of these low pass outputs that head down to the amplifiers for your powered, or your subwoofer if it's a powered subwoofer. In my instance it's not, so we need an amplifier. So again, the same thing could happen here. We could go into the balance connection and go into the balance connection of the amplifier if we wanted to do that as well, but I'm just doing it this way for now. So that's essentially what's happening here. We'll run some speaker cable out of the Audio Research amplifier and put into the back of the Wilson sub. So let me spin this around a bit so we can have a little look at the back of that. Oh dear me. So if you look down there, there are the connectors for the speaker terminal. So we'll just come. Oh, I need to run a decent length of this cable when we go about doing that. Let me just get this back up a bit again. So there you have it. That's essentially what's going to happen here. That's the basic wiring setup. Both the amplifier and the watch controller will be sitting under stack audio over EQs. I just have enough of them, if I use every single spare one I have, to be able to put 3 under each of those two components. So they will be, just for reference sake, for when we're listening to this, when we get it all hooked up, they'll both be separately decoupled with stack audio over EQs, and we'll be listening to the subwoofer essentially on its wheels as a starting point, and then we'll move over to putting all the 100s from stack audio underneath. We'll listen to the delta difference between those two situations, and I'll talk to you about what I'm hearing. There'll be lots to talk about in relation to this. There's going to be, please comment below if you've got any comments or anything you want to talk to me about, or anything you want to say in relation to what's going on here. I love hearing from you all, so happy to take any comments you have and answer any questions you might have as well, or take on any commentary you guys might have for me. So that's the situation. We'll fine tune this and we'll go through all of that process. I'll talk to you about everything that's happening in here. If I'm running into problems, you're going to hear everything, warts and all, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. And we're going to try and attempt to locate the right position for this subwoofer. What I'm trying to do is not necessarily get any more lower octave presentation in this room. I just don't need it. This room is really probably a little too small for the Alexias, to be honest, and I can certainly, by tuning the Alexias the way I have, pressurize this room if I want to without ever needing this sub. That's why it's been in my possession. I purchased it about 2 years ago, and it's just been sitting down in the sunroom down the back doing nothing, essentially being a coffee table. So I want to get it in here now, because what I'm trying to do is lob the head off the 80 hertz bump I've got in this room, and that's going to come down to getting this subwoofer positioned in the right spot so that I can actually do what I'm trying to do in the room here. Now, there will be some lower octave benefits. There's no doubt about that. There'll be a lot of things will come out of this that will be positive, hopefully. But I don't know until I start doing this, and I have never had this subwoofer going. So I don't know what it sounds like. Everything I heard when I purchased it said that it was going to be phenomenal and perfect match for obviously my Wilson speakers. And it was always going to be something I was going to put into my system when I got into a bigger room. But a few friends of mine have told me there's a really nice way to be able to tune your room with this lower octave stuff if you've got a bump in your room. And the resonant frequency in this room is around 80 hertz. It's just that simple. So there's ways around trying to negate that issue. I've done a heck of a job, and I'm happy to pat myself on the back here as far as this latest room configuration goes with sound treatment, because it really is sounding as good as it's ever sounded. My system has never sounded this good It's blowing me away. I'm struggling to get out of this room. I just keep wanting to hear this album, and then I want to hear that stream, and I'm all these things that are coming into my head through my reference list that I'm listening to, and it's like hearing them all for the first time again. There's just so much more engagement in the presentation now that the room's really pretty much ironed out. This is the final frontier, getting this subwoofer configuration in here, and it could be absolutely amazing, or it could be, well, we tried, it didn't work, and I wheel it out of the room again. I just don't know. You're going to know all about it the moment I know about it. But anyway, that's the basic setup. The next video we do on this will be fine-tuning and getting starting to get the settings all correct on the front of the watch controller, which we'll run through when we get to that stage. But thanks for watching. I hope you're enjoying all this crazy stuff that I'm doing here on the channel. If you are, please don't forget to give it a like, and please show me your support by subscribing to the channel. I know a heck of a lot of you are watching what I'm doing here on the channel, and my numbers run around 30% of subscribers and 70% of you are not. So please consider subscribing to the channel. It really will help me to build more of this kind of thing and get my channel into another level again on the YouTube sphere, and get this sort of information pushed out to more people, which is trying to help you integrate a subwoofer. Just because this is a Wilson doesn't mean that there's practical things we can learn here about how to integrate a subwoofer into a listening room. So it's all educational stuff. I'm learning. Hopefully you're learning as we go through this. I love having you on board. I love hearing your comments, so keep those coming, and we'll talk real soon. Bye for now.